Welcome, everyone. Good morning. My name is Dan Lauer, and I'm joined with Ann Kiss. I am the SEO specialist here at HNI. I started at the end of September or April. Ann, give it an introduction.
Sure. Good morning. My name is Ann Kiss. I'm a digital product manager at H&I. I've been with the company for about a year, and before working with H&I, I worked in the agency field for about 7 years in digital marketing, demand gen, email marketing, and marketing automation.
Cool. Thanks, Ann. So we're going to talk about tactics for selling in a digital world today, and I will start off. We're going to talk a little bit about SEO. So a big question a lot of people have is, what is SEO or an organic search? It's basically the ability to improve a website to increase visibility when people are searching for something. I'll talk a lot about Google, but the Google's goal is to improve the web user experience, but by providing better results that are trustworthy, high quality content that provide a great user experience. Organic search is basically finding something by using a search engine to get that information. Search engines work by using bots that crawl web pages across the internet, and they collect information on those web pages and they index them. What happens then, search engines use their own proprietary algorithms to analyze the pages in their index, and they use specific ranking factors and signals to order them. Search engines are continually improving. For example, Google alone in 2020 had 4,500 changes in 2020 alone, and that was ahead of what they did in 2019. So that's basically about 12 or 13 changes to the algorithm per day. There are about 200 plus known ranking factors that people have identified that Google used to organize those ranking results. But the main factor is the principle that they use, which is called EAT, which is they want expert, authoritative, and trustworthy content. And I'll talk a lot about Google because Google owns 92% of the search market, where Bing and Yahoo are 2% or less. Google alone has about 2 trillion plus searches per year. That's basically about 3.6 million searches per minute done on Google alone. So some of the Google algorithm updates just in the last decade include Panda, Hummingbird, mobile first indexing. These are just some of the major updates that Google has announced over the last decade, which combat spammy links, they combat duplicate content or low quality content. The biggest one that they've done recently is the page experience or the core web vitals update, which basically addresses websites that don't really have a good user experience, that have low page speed, load times, and a lot of jumpiness as you're trying to navigate a page. So Google is basically, this slide basically I wanted to show, SEO is constantly evolving and changing, and we as SEOs and digital marketers need to adapt to those updates. There's no endpoint. It's continually improving and evolving. So when you go to Google and you do a search, for example, best ergonomic office chair, the first thing that you're going to see, everything up here at the top is what we refer to as position 0. This is all ads, Google AdWords, and people paying to have their ad, their website show up at the top. Everything below that is organic results. And really the holy grail right now is kind of getting into this people also ask or other, other similar searches that people are doing on Google. But this is basically where organic search falls in. So everything here above the fold is the paid ads. Everything below this is the organic search results, showing the website URL, the page title, meta description, and I'll get into what those mean a little bit more in a couple slides here. So there are several different types of SEO. There's white hat and black hat. White hat SEO is basically following what Google and other search engines kind of prefer the tactics that you do. So that's following their best practices, the EAT methodology of having a mobile-friendly, trustworthy website that has expert and authoritative content. Black hat involves a tactics that people try to game or manipulate the system, and that are things like link farms, keyword stuffing on pages, and spam links. You really want to always try to not do black hat because you risk of getting penalized by Google. And if you end up in the so-called Google penalty box, it is very, very difficult to get away from once your website or a web page gets penalized by Google. Now, there are two different types of SEO that are referred to as on-page and off-page SEO. On-page is everything that you can control on your website. So that's your page titles, that's your content, your images, your videos, your page load speed, your content structure. And Anne is going to get into this a little bit towards the end of the presentation. There's also off-page SEO, and that involves some of the things that you can do with email marketing, social media, backlink, having other websites linked to you. Those all increase your brand and your website's visibility and credibility. So SEO is very much collaborative with those other marketing channels, and those other marketing channels can really help SEO and organic search. So some of the benefits of SEO is the big one is it's free. You can't pay Google to rank ahead of your competition unless you're using Google AdWords, but that's paid advertising, not organic. And SEO is evergreen. And what I mean by that is once your web page and your website starts ranking and starts ranking high, it is usually very difficult for your competition to then outrank you. SEO increases your brand's truth and authority, and organic search is usually your best source of traffic. If you're comparing it to social, paid, and Google AdWords, paid advertising, organic traffic usually has a much higher click-through rate on Google and specifically mobile devices than any of those other channels. Another great thing about SEO is that it's measurable. There's specific metrics like clicks from organic search, impressions, your click-through rate, how many organic keywords you're getting on page one, and just total organic keywords ranking within Google. All of those are very measurable, and it provides a good benchmark of where you can set goals to improve your website. SEO usually also has better conversions compared to those other online marketing strategies. And these metrics come from Moz, but organic search on mobile and desktop usually get a 41 and a 62% conversion rate compared to 15% of traffic that's coming from paid and 5% of traffic that's coming from paid social. So some of the things, not getting too technical here, but some of the things that can affect organic search, there's both content and technical things that go into organic rankings on a website. There are factors related to your domain or your URL. How old is that URL? Do you have the keyword within that URL? The structure of the URL. Are you following best practices, not having ampersands and exclamation points in spaces, and making sure that your URL is using only dashes and underscores and all lowercase. There's also page level factors, making sure that the keyword is in that meta description and the page title. Also the content length. You want to make sure that your pages have at minimum 250 to 500 plus words, and making sure that the keywords and a variety of keywords are targeted on that page. Making sure that the page loads fast, your image are optimized, not only that they load fast, but they also have alt attributes, which is basically text in the back end of the website, whereas the Google bot reads those images, it has descriptive text in the back end. There's also site level factors like does your site have a sitemap? Does it have an image sitemap? Are you using breadcrumb links at the top of your pages as you go deeper within your website? Is it optimized for mobile? Does your website, all your pages pass the mobile inspection tool from Google? And also, is your website HTTP or is it using HTTPS? Basically, that means, is your site secure? Is it using a SSL certificate or not? There's also backlink factors. How many websites are linking to your website? And it's not necessarily about quality of backlinks. You also want not necessarily quantity, you want quality backlinks. It's better to have 500 really high quality than having 1,000 low quality. Some of your more higher authoritative sites and domains that you can have linking to you, if you can get .gov or .edu sites linking to you, that's going to be better than maybe like a .org or something along those lines. You also want to look at the user interaction. What's the bounce rate on some of your pages and the click-through rate? There's also brand signals. So Google's logarithm also looks at social signals like, is your website getting picked up in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn pages? And there's also, you want to make sure you stay away from those black hat practices, like that low quality content that's maybe duplicated, content link farms, and the interstitials. So basically, if you go to your website, do you have an ad immediately pop up? Normally, Google does not like that. They would rather you stay away from those, like a lot of pop-up ads that take away from that user experience. As far as the future of SEO, it's really going to go towards understanding that user intent. I guarantee probably everybody within the last 24 hours, probably even today, you've already gone to Google and you've asked it a question. What is the weather in Chicago? What is, the score of the football game? How do I change the oil in my lawnmower? Where can I buy this chair? Everybody is asking Google questions, especially with the home assistants. The user intent and people searching in question form is really, really going to be important. And specifically in that voice search and mobile devices, because as of around 2016, 17, most of your website traffic that people are doing on a daily basis is on mobile devices. So you really want to understand your users better and that customer journey. A lot of times people have heard content is king. Well, video content is really, really important. If you can optimize your video content on your website for SEO, that is really going to be continually growing in importance over the years. Another one is long tail keywords. And long tail keywords, instead of doing a search for office chair, it's going to be any of those search queries that you're doing that contains more than 3 words. So instead of office chair, it's going to be best ergonomic home office chair, or where can I buy the best ergonomic office chair? Those usually have lower monthly search volumes, but they have the highest click-through rate. So if you can rank high for those long tail keywords, that really will help drive organic traffic to your website. And really, it kind of goes in the best practice of the do, know, or go, being people want to do something, it's transactional, it's a specific action. Knowing is informational, they want to learn about a topic. So transactional might be something like I want to buy an ergonomic office chair, or somebody might not know what an ergonomic office chair is, so they might search on what is an ergonomic office chair. And then go is going to be a specific location. You want directions. Where can I buy an ergonomic office chair? Where can I buy, a Han or an all steel office chair or something like that? And also, because it's really brand new and there was a lot of press and lead up to this, was Google wants that really good website user experience related to those core web vitals, which is basically your page load speed. Some of the tools of the trade that digital marketers and SEO use, obviously Google Analytics and Google Search Console, there's a lot of all of those that you see here that have an asterisk near them. Those are all free or have free with paid versions. So all of those tools are really good resources. There's even some free Chrome browser extensions. Bing also has webmaster tools. All of these tools people can use to analyze the SEO and organic performance on your website. SEO is both art and science. It's very data driven. So a lot of these tools give you a lot of good data, where a little bit more of the art comes into play is doing the keyword research. That's really your kind of trial by fire. You might try to optimize a page for a certain keyword and it doesn't work. So you go back, a couple weeks later, a month or so later, and you try to target a different keyword, or you try to optimize for that keyword in a different way. So all of these tools do provide a great analysis of the performance of the website, both analyzing your content as well as the technical back-end portion of your website. I'll get into this in the next slide, but really all of these tools allow you to provide regular audits, SEO audits of your website, which basically looks at all the different components of the website and provide what can be improved upon and recommendations of how you can try to improve your website to do better in SEO and organic search. So a site audit, basically, you can use these are just some of the tools that I use in mine, but any of those tools on the previous page, you can crawl a website, look at the content issues. So which pages have low word counts, which pages might have issues with the format of the URL. You can also look at the metadata issues, so your page titles, meta descriptions. You can also look at the technical issues. So do you have URLs that are broken? Do you have issues with low page speeds? Do you have issues with your XML sitemap? Is it available? Is it crawlable by search engines like Google? And you're also going to want to review the data on your website, things like the percentage of the total traffic that organic accounts for. What's the average bounce rate on a specific page or the entire site? Are you getting traffic more from desktop or more from mobile? And looking at the average time that a user spends on your site and on specific pages. When you do an SEO audit, the output that I usually provide people is a list of recommendations and improvements and opportunities, and you can prioritize them based on the impact versus the effort level. So an impact, something like improving the page speed on your homepage, that's going to be a high impact, but it's also going to be a high effort level. Because it probably requires code development. It requires your developers to change things in the back-end portions of the website, versus something like increasing the word count on your website, or adding in meta descriptions and optimizing your page titles. Those things usually don't require code development. So they have a higher impact, but they also have a lower effort level. So basically what you want to do is 2 to 3 times per year, maybe at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, audit your website, provide your teams a list of those prioritized recommendations, and go through and knock off each one of those recommendations. And once you do that, document that, because that you can then analyze your site's performance after that to see if it made an impact. Sometimes you will see an immediate impact right after, or it might be a gradual increase. Other times you might see that impact, and then 5-6 months down the road, Google makes a change and your website might go down back to where it was. Or the change might happen and your website sees an even greater boost. So it's continually auditing your website, continually monitoring what's going on with Google's search algorithm, so you can always stay up to date on the best practices for your website to rank higher. An example of a win that we had over the summer is for one of the HNI brands. We audited their website and found that the homepage, their meta title description and keywords were lacking. It wasn't optimized or missing altogether. So we made those updates just to the homepage around the middle of June, and almost immediately we saw an improvement in the bounce rate. The bounce rate was reduced 24%. The average time on the page increased Daily sessions and page views increased. We had an increase from clicks from organic search, and impressions of the website showing up in search increased just over 20%. We use a tool called Bright Edge internally at HNI. They have a proprietary score called Data Cube, which is basically the search volume times the click-through rate. And that increased 14% from June to July alone. And we saw organic keywords ranked on page 1 and total organic keywords ranking altogether also increased. These were just some of the metrics that we saw just by making a simple update that required no code development just to the homepage. That's all I have for SEO. I'm going to turn it over to Ann here, and she's going to talk about email marketing and some of those other digital marketing activities that complement SEO well.
Great, thank you, Dan. Well, now that you guys are all SEO experts and you know how to drive traffic to your website, once you get visitors to your website, one of the most important things that you need to do from there is keeping them engaged. So once traffic lands on your website, email marketing is really one of the easiest and most personal ways to engage your target audience with core messages. So next, we're just going to walk through why email marketing is so important, some best practices around email marketing, how to grow your list. If you're feeling really advanced with email marketing, how to do some audience segmentation and marketing automation journeys, and then next steps to either get yourself started with email marketing or to take it to the next level. Next slide, please. Sorry, Dan. Dan's controlling my slides, so we're a team effort here. Why email marketing is so important. One of my favorite statistics about email marketing is that for every $1 invested into email marketing, the average return on that investment is nearly $42. Email marketing really is one of the key ways that while you don't own the channel itself, so you don't own your customer or your prospect's personal information, they're willingly giving you their contact information and saying, it's okay for you to send me marketing messages. So it's really one of those platforms where you kind of own every aspect of the journey. And there's multiple ways to use it from both a B2B perspective and a B2B or B2C e-commerce perspective as well. So from the B2B side, 31% of B2B marketers know that strategic email is one of the best ways to help nurture leads through the journey to path to purchase. And it's also one of the top free organic channels. So Dan talked a lot about SEO and driving traffic to the website. Once you get them there, having email marketing is another one of those free organic channels that you can utilize. Email is also one of the most universal marketing channels to send out content. So if you have marketing teams that are preparing messages in all different types of formats, whether that be webinars, blogs, sending out product updates, using social content, using videos, or sending links to your website, all of that can be put into email marketing and be utilized by sending out email marketing sends. From a B2C perspective, especially if you have an e-commerce store, 49% of consumers want to receive promotional emails from brands. If you think about that, that's a really great statistic because the average person interacts with anywhere between 9 and 11 brands via email marketing every single day. And if nearly 50% of that audience is saying that they want to receive promotional emails from a brand, it's a really great opportunity if you have that capability to be able to utilize that channel. Also, 80% of consumers will actually open a welcome email journey, generating 100% more engagement than any other type of email. So think about your own personal habits. You go to a website, you sign up for email marketing from that brand, knowing that you may get a coupon or something like that. In return, 80% of consumers will then open that email, making it one of the most engaging types of emails. 25% of B2C emails are open within the first hour after sending, meaning that consumers are immediately engaged in that as well. And 99% of users check their inboxes daily, with some consumers checking their email up to 20 times per day. I won't say that I fall in that bucket, but I probably do. And then also, just as we look generationally across how different generations interact with email, 74% of baby boomers actually think that email is the most personal channel to receive communications from brands, followed by 72% of Gen X, 64% of millennials, and even 60% of Gen Z, which is the hardest generation to reach via any sort of marketing channel at this point in time. Go ahead, Dan. So before we jump into some of the specifics around email marketing, I just wanted to toss out a few email marketing best practices to help guide you through your email marketing journeys. So in order to have a really successful email when you're building it out, you want to make sure that you're keeping your subject line under 35 characters to make sure that if someone is reading it on their mobile device, which most people are, that they have the ability to see that entire full subject line without having to click into the email. It's great to do some experimenting with personalization and dynamic content within that email send as well. So maybe consider doing some personalization in the subject line or the body copy with that person's first name, sending an email based on their location or other high-level data. We know that using that is a great tactic. Personalization in email does increase open rates by up to 26%. My other piece of advice for email marketing best practices is A/B test everything. Email is a great way to take the data and content that you already have and try to leverage that as data points to further your marketing strategies. So we recommend A/B testing subject lines, maybe using emojis or don't use emojis, add personalization or don't add personalization, test copy, imagery, send times, and more to see what data points actually give you the best results moving forward, and then leverage that content for future email sends. Another key piece of advice is to try to keep your body copy at anywhere between 14 and 17 point font and headlines at 22 to 28 point font. I know it's very specific, but those are actually tested font sizes to be able to make sure that people universally can be able to easily read your email marketing send, whether they're opening it on a desktop or a mobile device. Also, another thing is a lot of people on both B2B and B2C side are using platforms like Gmail to actually open and consume the email. Gmail does a weird thing where if your email is over a certain size, it will clip it. So I'm sure if you've looked at an email in Gmail, you've noticed that as you're scrolling down, it ends at a certain point and it will say clip to message, click here to view the full message in a browser. In order to keep your email all within the platform, you need to make sure that it's under 102 kilobytes in size to avoid clipping in platforms like Gmail. Dan talked a lot about video and how video content is king when it comes to SEO. It also rules with email as well. The more engaging content you can have in email, including video, especially if it's under 2 minutes, or features like GIFs, is going to help increase your overall engagement. And then obviously the goal with email is, one, to present engaging messages to your audience and your prospects, but it's also to drive traffic back to your website and social platforms. So when you have a specific call to action or a button, make sure you keep that above the fold. So test out your email while you're sending it. Look at what is actually viewable within your desktop view as well as your mobile view, and keep your strong call to actions above that. And then also use bright contrasting colors for those so they really stick out as people are reading their emails. And then finally, as your database grows, start segmenting your audience based on all sorts of different contexts. So if you're a B2C e-commerce site, make sure that you're segmenting audiences based on their purchase behavior. So if someone purchased from you in the last 2 weeks, you don't want to continue to send them purchase emails about the same chair if they've already purchased it. You can also look at their engagement, different attributes and demographics around them as well. We know that segmented campaigns contribute a 760% increase in email attributed revenue as well. And then finally, just a couple more tidbits or pieces of advice is ensure your emails are accessible to your entire audience. So make sure that you're considering people who might be not able to read things as well. So in your email marketing software, make sure that you are adding alt text to all of your images and videos so that if someone can't see those or view them, that they are able to read, use a screen reader to be able to understand what's in the email. And then the other big trend right now too is that a lot of people have turned, especially their mobile devices, into dark mode. So test all of your emails both in regular sends and then look at them on a mobile device in dark mode and make sure that your colors aren't skewed and that everything is still legible. And then the final aspect of best practices is just thinking through a subscriber acquisition plan. So utilize features within social media to drive new email growth, and then make sure that it's visible on your website for people to subscribe to your email as well. Okay, next slide, please. So the next thing is, once you have a list, it's important that you keep growing that list over time. So as far as collecting emails, growing your email database is one of the most important things you can do. We live in a world right now where a lot of people interact with brands via email. They want to receive information from brands via email, but there needs to be something in it for them. So think about your own personal habits and what makes you subscribe to an email, and make sure you're giving that same type of experience to your consumers as well. So think about if you sign up for an email, you'll get 15% off your purchase. Or if you sign up for an email, you'll be able to download this free resource guide that we have, or be able to access all of these tutorial videos. Think about how you're gating your content and then collecting information from people visiting your website to be able to add to your email marketing database. Social media advertising is a great way to drive awareness of your list. So you can actually run Facebook or LinkedIn ads to drive traffic to your website to sign up for email using that same type of promotion, like a coupon or a free resource. Create lots of different easy ways for visitors to sign up for email throughout your website. So it could be that you have a standard footer on your website. So I put the example of the Han, or you could do something like a pop-up or a flyout, like the example on the bottom, where as soon as someone is scrolling through your website, a pop-up asks them, do you like really fun emails, and gives the opportunity for people to sign up and promote special offers. I think the most important thing with collecting emails is to make it really easy for people to sign up. People don't want to fill out 19 different boxes in order to sign up for your email. So just collect the most basic information to start, like name, email, business. And then once you do that, you can start them down a journey and get a little bit more personal. So once someone has signed up, use resources to find out more about the customers and then personalize their messages in the future. And then if needed, protect all of your, gate your protected content so that you can make sure you're collecting information from people before they're able to access certain features of your site. Thank you. So once you feel like you've nailed kind of the basics of email marketing and you feel like you're in a really good place, it's time to kind of take it up another level and start doing some email audience segmentation. There are probably thousands and thousands of different ways to be able to segment your audiences. And I guess the one piece of advice I give about any sort of digital marketing is to think about your own email habits. What causes you to open an email and then click through to that particular website? So we know that if you are personalizing and segmenting emails, the chance that someone is going to resonate with that message, open it, and then click to your website and take action is much, much higher. And marketers who use segmented campaigns know as much as a 760% increase in revenue. So a couple of examples here on the side is, if anyone uses Spotify, Spotify does a great job of doing a year-end wrap where you get an entire personalized email about how much time you spent listening to songs on Spotify, your favorite artists, which songs you listen to. It's like a little bit creepy, but also really cool that they have that much data. And a lot of people are then taking that email, not only clicking through and then continuing to listen on Spotify, but also taking that email and sharing it to their Instagram story. So adding that layer of personalization and dynamic content actually helps to drive more awareness and engagement for Spotify as a brand overall. Same thing with any sort of e-commerce email. You'll actually see that if you add dynamic content that's personalized. So once you get down into your segmentation journey, if you have an e-commerce site, for example, if someone is searching for chairs on your website and you know that they're inclined to buy a chair, you can actually add products underneath that are, products we think you may enjoy. And when you do things like that within email marketing as well, people get really engaged in that content and have a much higher click-through rate as well. We also know that adding personalization in the subject line, so adding a person's name in the subject line, helps to receive 50% higher open rates in general when it comes to email marketing. So if you're just getting started with segmentation, a few things to try segmenting is you could segment your audience by the size or type of their business. You could look at customer engagement. So how often are they visiting your website? Are they engaging with your social media? Have they purchased from you? Where they live? So we've done a couple things in the past about, during COVID, looking at work from home scenarios and saying certain areas of the country have more strict lockdowns where we know people are actually going to be working from home. Let's target a work from home campaign around that. Looking at past purchase behavior and then overall customer preferences as well. It's really important to pay attention to those customer preferences. If they say they only want to hear from you once a month or once a week, you better only communicate with them once a month or once a week. And then just some additional segmentation opportunities as well. This comes from Salesforce Marketing Cloud. They have a really robust system to be able to target, personalize, and segment through email marketing. So just another variety of ways that you can start to look at how you want to segment your audience as you move forward. And then once you feel like you've got segmentation under control, the next kind of step in the email marketing process is really looking at email marketing automation and setting up journeys that convert your customers to do the action you want them to do, whether that's being able to download something or actually making a purchase. So I think the great thing about email marketing automation is that you can set up all of these automated journeys and flows within a system. And once they're set up, they automate on their own. So it saves your marketing team's time and energy by creating these smart email marketing automations. So we're going to talk a little bit about customer welcome journeys, abandoned cart or abandoned quote, and then re-engagement journeys as well. Go to the next slide. So a welcome series would be that first type of automation that we talked about at the beginning, which is you signed up to receive my company's email. I'm going to send you an email right away welcoming you and giving you some information about my brand. So the first things first is that we want to make sure that we're starting with a confirmation email to confirm that email address to make sure that they're double opted in. With email marketing, it's extremely important that we do that to make sure that people have opted in and that they have the ability to opt out or unsubscribe within every email as well. Send within hours of sign up. So we have a couple of different A/B tests that we run for brands. We have one that goes out within 5 minutes of sign up and one that goes out within an hour of sign up to be able to test those against each other and see which one actually results in the most engagement on site. And then include a discount code or some sort of offer if possible. So if you're a B2C e-commerce site and you have the ability to, obviously, for that consumer to purchase on the website, offering them some sort of discount code or offer within the email is going to keep them on that journey and email path for you and then drive traffic back to your website for purchase. If you are a B2B company, you can also add an offer within your email as well. Maybe it's an exclusive webinar content that they can watch, video content, access to a blog or piece of gated content on the website that if they weren't an email subscriber, they wouldn't have access to. And then within that welcome journey, instead of just sending one email and then forgetting about it, I think it's really important to really add 4 to 6 emails within a 1-month time span that gives different details about your brand, why they should stay connected to you and subscribe to your email marketing, offers different types of gated content throughout that, and then add, once they're done with that welcome journey, add them to your pool of regular communication contact once that series is complete. One of the most important automations to have, especially if you're a B2C e-commerce site, is an abandoned cart or an abandoned quote flow. It's important that, so this would be the flow that would go out if someone adds a product to their cart, but then doesn't complete that transaction on the path to purchase. So this is one of the easiest ways to drive people back to your website. We know that more than 75% of online shoppers leave product in their cart. It's just something that we do, and then either we get distracted and we move on from there, or we're savvy shoppers and we're waiting for a coupon code to come through our email. So it's important that once someone does that, that they get added into that journey and that you send an email within an hour of product abandonment. And again, you can A/B test a couple of different time lengths there as well. We do know that sending an abandoned cart email with that left behind product dynamically inserted into the email usually gets an open rate around 45%, which is more than 100% higher than a regular email that would go out. And then having an abandoned cart flow that is 2 to 3 emails in length results in 69% more orders overall if you have an e-commerce website. Having a well-crafted subject line is very, very important here, considering adding the customer's name in the subject line. So I've gotten several where it's like, and you've left this behind in your cart, or and save 15% if you come back and purchase. That really speaks to the urgency of having them come back to the website. And then the other thing to note here is that having your call to action buttons have copy that reflects what's left in their cart. So instead of just saying shop now, use something like take me back to my cart, or buy now, or return to your cart, or something like that, that speaks to the sense of urgency of directing them back to their cart. And then consider adding any sort of related products to that email. So I mentioned earlier that, if someone's considering a chair, maybe they put that chair in their cart, but they don't really know if it's the specific chair that they want. Add a few other related products to the bottom of that email, and you'll actually see quite a high click-through rate from those related products back to your website as well. This is also a great email send to be able to add in reviews of products or social proof as a selling point. And then always, if you can, add in a coupon, but not in the first email. The goal is to get them obviously to go back to their cart and make that purchase and give you that full value of the product. But we also do know that adding in a coupon or a discount in the second or third emails helps to increase that conversion rate overall as well. So next steps as far as email, I know that everyone is probably in a different place when it comes to email marketing. Some people are just getting started and some people are really ready to leverage their email marketing and amp it out to the next level. So if you're just getting started, it's important that you research and pick an email marketing platform that has a direct connection to your website to collect leads. I think the biggest time saver you can do is making sure that there's a direct integration so that if someone fills out a form on your website, it goes directly into your email marketing software, so you don't have to consistently and constantly download Excel lists, upload them to your email marketing platform, segment them automatic or manually. Having one that connects is a good way for you to be able to do that automatically and save your team's time, effort, and money overall. So a couple of my favorite platforms to use are MailChimp, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Klaviyo if you're an e-commerce website, Constant Contact, and Pardot as well. And these range in investment levels from very, very cheap, as in like $15, $20 a month, all the way up to $1,000 a month, depending on how big your list is. Most important thing is to start building your list, collecting those email addresses, and then once you can, start segmenting those audiences as well. And then have your marketing teams create a content calendar that aligns with your overall marketing strategy of when you're sending emails, what type of content those emails in, what type of content is in those emails, excuse me, and then how you're measuring success and strategy from a measurement perspective as well. If you already have all of that under control, in order to amp up your email marketing and really take it to the next level, I would recommend adding an element of personalization to every single email. So adding the customer's name either in the subject line or the body copy, making some piece of that relevant to one of the attributes that is associated with that customer. A/B test absolutely everything that you can. Email is a great way to do testing with your subject lines, your call to action, imagery, personalization, emojis, no emojis, etc., to be able to see what works best for your audience and then to take that data and leverage it moving forward. So we have a brand that we do an A/B test of emoji or no emoji for every single campaign. We run that A/B test for a month using different variables, and then we measure our success, determine which is our winner, and then leverage that data moving forward to make our emails the best that they can be for our target audience. Once you've done that, it's really important to start setting up complex journeys based on the customer behavior, preferences, and any interaction. So once you have a really great email marketing software, you'll actually be able to use some really advanced journeys that basically take the customer's online behavior and then translate that into journeys. So think about I get a lot of emails where I've been browsing products on the website, but haven't yet added it to my cart. And I'll get a dynamic email saying, I know you browsed this collection on site. Why don't you come back to the website and add it to your cart? And then finally, with either if you're just getting started or you're trying to amp up your email marketing, the most important thing to do really is pay attention to the metrics after each one of your sends and start making improvements to your overall campaigns based on that data that you're seeing. So I know we've given you a lot of information about SEO and email marketing here today. So we, both Dan and I think would be happy to take any questions that people have at this point in time.